Hi there. Today's video topic is making a dynamic table in Power BI that your users can export to Excel. So there's some pretty fun things you can do with this where you can actually allow them to switch between a kind of a pivot table equivalent from Excel, which is a matrix in Power BI, between that and a table, and you can let them select which measures they want to see. So you can say, uh, let them select from the slicer all of the things that they want to put together. And the cool thing about this is that you can control what your measures are sending back in context. So if I try to add to this table, say, a customer count, you'll notice that the column is blank all the way down because customer count is not something that applies to single product names in this case, but there is a total at the bottom. But if I were to, say, switch this to sales territory and deselect these, you do get a value all the way down the column. And that's a DAX trick I'm going to show you in a little bit here. Also, the conditional formatting for these is not super obvious to set up because when you're using field parameters like we are here, you have to do some hoop jumping in order to get the conditional formatting to stick to your columns. So let's jump into the demo. This is assuming that you know what field parameters are. And I have another video that tells you exactly how to set up field parameters. So if you want to check that out first, I highly recommend it. I'm going to put it in the video description. I'm just going to do a quick fast forward through the field parameters setup here, and then we will jump into it. All right, I created those field parameters while I'm on this page so that I could look and see what I needed to make, but now I'm going to move them over to the demo page here by cutting and pasting. All right, let's get started. So it's kind of a running joke in the Power BI community that you can make an awesome report or dashboard, and then the first thing that somebody asks when they look at it is like, hey, can I get this in Excel? So the idea here is we're going to give them an outlet for their exporting to Excel needs. You can debate the merits of whether or not people should be exporting to Excel all day long, but at the end of the day, people are going to do it anyway. So you may as well make it a good experience for them. I had to move my camera because it was over the top of the fields I was trying to add in here. So, all right. Anyways, so what we're going to do now is set up our slicers, and the table visual really likes something to be selected when you are adding field parameters to a table. If there's nothing selected, it kind of freaks out a little bit. So I'm just going to select a few of these things to get started. And you'll notice when I'm clicking between these that it's not selecting multiple. The control to select option is something you have to turn off in your slicer settings. And I highly recommend doing that if you are allowing users to select multiple, because your average person is not going to be able to figure out that they need to hold down control. All right, there we go. And I'm just going to rename these while we're in here to, let's see, it's under slicer header. So this one is going to be by, and we're splitting our measures and dimensions into separate field parameters, both for organizational purposes and so that we can use it in a matrix later more easily. Okay, and I'm going to make the slicer values font size 10 because I feel like 12 is just a little bit too big. All right, so now let's make our table. So I'm just going to insert a plain old table, and the style preset that I kind of like is the minimal one in your table settings, and you have to actually add your field parameters in here first. So let's find our dimensions and our measures. All right, So it's now using the field parameters we have selected in our table, and now we're going to change how this table looks. So we're going to go to Style Presets, and I'm going to change mine to Minimal, but you can use whatever you want to. And I like to set the row padding to be a little bit lower when I'm using tables because I feel like people are used to seeing things fit better in a table, and if you only have 10 rows in your table, then it's kind of a problem for people that are used to Excel. All right, so this looks pretty good. I'm gonna also change the column headers to be a lighter font weight just for some visual separation. All right, conditional formatting time. So you'll notice that if I select our field parameters in the table, I don't get the same conditional formatting options as I would for a normal column. And the trick to this is if you, I'm just going to add a second one in here, if you add in the same fields that you're using in your field parameters temporarily, you can conditionally format those and then remove them, and that conditional formatting will stick for your field parameters. So I'm just going to look up my item quantity sold here. I'm going to add that into the table. So now I've got 2 here. I'm going to move it to the, there we go. All right, so I've got 2 in here. I'm going to format this one with some data bars. I'm just going to make them gray. Click OK. All right, and now if I remove this one that I added and toggle this on and off, you'll see that the conditional formatting is staying, and that's what we want. And trick number 2 is if you've got any columns with an unusually long column name like this one here, you'll see that it scrolls off the side of the table. And what we can do is if we change the size of this, it will actually remember what we've done. So if I deselect and reselect this, you'll notice that it remembers that column width. So you can do that for any of your longer column names, and it'll remember the exact width that you had it. The only catch is if you rename this field parameter, it'll forget. So the same thing with the conditional formatting, by the way. So if you rename anything, you'll have to go in and do it again. But otherwise, it seems to be pretty reliably sticky. It's one of those things that's like, is this a bug or is this a feature? And you don't, I mean, I use it because it works, but jury's out on that. Next trick is to get the values to return blank when you don't want this measure to be combined with certain dimensions. So in this case, my customer count measure, if I look at the DAX, has one value. So what this does is if the product category or the subcategory or the product name only has one value, then it will return blank. Otherwise, it will return the customer count for the total. And I prefer this to selected value because selected value, you won't get the total down here. And I kind of like it because it makes people realize that it is working. It just probably shouldn't be combined with the things that they have selected. All right, so now we are going to add in a really quick little button icon to help people find the Export to Excel button. Because if your experience is anything like mine, literally nobody will find it on their own the first time, and I am honestly kind of sick of people asking me how to export things to Excel. It's technically possible to make a button to export to Excel and use that instead, but I like to teach people where it actually lives because I feel like that's a valuable thing. So let's go to the Insert menu, and we're going to insert a button. I'm going to use this Reset button. I like the curved arrow shape. And we're just going to resize this to be smaller. And we're going to go into Style and change the weight to 1. And we're going to turn on the text. And that font size is big. All right. So now, hopefully, when people see this, they're going to hover on this table and be like, what's up here? And then click on this and go to their export option. Okay, next up is the matrix. And if you want to do both a table and a matrix, you can. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to copy and paste this table and change it to a matrix. That way I don't have to set it up from scratch again. And we're going to change it to this one. And we are going to drag our measures parameter into the values well over here. That'll make it pop up. And you can pre-expand these if you want to. It's not going to stick if people change things, but I do kind of like them expanded by default. So I'm going to rename this so that I know what it is in the selection pane, because it's kind of hard to tell your visuals apart in there, especially when you're hiding one and showing the other. So the title is something that you can turn on, name it, and then turn it back off, and it'll stick in the selection pane. You'll see what I mean in a minute here. So I'm going to call this matrix. I'm going to turn it back off. You can leave the title on if you want to. I'm going to do the same thing for this table. Turn it off. Okay. So now let's set up our bookmarks. And what we're going to do is turn on our bookmark selection pane. So let's do bookmarks and selection. And you end up with not much space here, so I'm just going to collapse this so you can see what's going on. All right, so now you can see in here that we have something called matrix and something called table, and you can toggle these on and off in here, and that's what we're going to do with our bookmarks. So for our bookmarks, we're just going to click add over here, and I'm going to call this one matrix. I'm going to use the word pivot because that's something that's recognizable to Excel users, and they wouldn't necessarily know what a Power BI matrix is. And in matrix, I am going to set this to selected visuals, and I'm going to set it to not update the data. And what that'll do is if your users have any filters or sorts selected, it won't reset those. And it won't reset your slicers over here either, because that is something that's saved to data if you use it in a bookmark. All right, so I'm going to select both the matrix and the table, and then I'm going to hide the table. So let's hide the table, select both. You can hold down Control to select multiple in the selection pane, and then I'm going to update this. Click on Update, and what that's going to do is it's going to make the bookmark have the table hidden, the matrix showing, and now we need to create one more bookmark that does the opposite. So I'm going to add another one and call this table. And I'm going to do the same exact thing. So I'm going to not update the data and do selected visuals. And this time I'm going to show the table and hide the matrix and select both, Control, and then update my bookmark. All right, so now let's add a bookmark navigator. So we're going to go to the Insert menu here, and we are going to insert our buttons, navigator, bookmark navigator. And I've got a bunch of other bookmarks in this report, so what I need to do is make a bookmark group for these to link the navigator to. So I'm going to go back to my bookmarks over here and group. And if you notice that group is grayed out, just make sure to select the bookmark that you're trying to group, because I think it only works on the active one, as far as I can tell. And then we're going to drag our matrix into that group. I'm going to call this demo. All right, so let's open up this visualization pane and select our navigator, and then go to the bookmarks option and select our bookmark group that we just created. And that'll limit it to just those two bookmarks. I'll move this over here. All right, cool. Let's try it out, make sure it works. So there's our matrix, there's our table, and we can select whatever we want in here, and it updates. So if you have any fun field parameter tricks that you are willing to share, please drop those in the comments because I'd love to hear about them. And that was it for today. So thank you.